My name is Ben Vereen. I'm an entertainer, actor, singer, dancer, and I pretty much got my start in Brooklyn, in the streets of Brooklyn. I went to Star Time Dance Studio in Brooklyn, but what really turned the corner for me was when I came to Manhattan to go to the High School for the Performing Arts. A lady by the name of Dr. Rachel Yoakum opened the doors to the arts for me. I met a guy in Hollywood. He was in the movie. His name was Sammy Davis Jr. And Sammy took me to a place called London, where we did a show called Golden Boy together in London, and came back here to the United States and landed a show called Hair, and the rest was history. Let me tell you the reason why I wanted to do Roots. When I was growing up, there was very little written about the African American experience. It was a paragraph, if you were in junior high school or high school, it was a paragraph, unless you went deeper into it. And no one really, in my circle, influenced us to go deeper into our history. And it was pretty much very little written about it until a guy named Alex Haley came along, who went back to Africa, to Gambia. He found a place called Jufere, and he found this family, the Kunta Kinte family. And he came back, he didn't fly back first class, he came back in the hull of a ship because he wanted to simulate what it must have been like for millions of African Americans to come to this country and be brought over as slaves in slavery. And when I heard about this, that ABC had the courage, oh my God, the courage in those times to do a show based on the African American experience, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't care what I had to do. If I was just a guy on the ship going, let me out of here, let me out. I wanted to be a part of Roots because I felt that Roots was important, not as a TV show, but as a statement for civilization, to recognize who we are as a people, a united people, that our people have suffered, has paid the price, as we all have, to be in this great country called America. Stan Margulies was the executive producer, along with David Wolper, who had brought it to ABC. And he saw my show, and he came back and he said, I want you to be my Chicken George. And that's how I got the show.
First slave, you weren't always a slave. For he's a slave, you're a free man in Africa. And he was called Kunta Kinte.
What was my hardest part in trying to interpret the experience of the slaves of doing Roots? The voices and the screams and the agony and the pain, relating to it. And I think, I can only speak for myself, but I think for all the actors, of opening up the doors to our ancestors and seeing what my great-great-grandmother had to suffer. Whew, sorry. Every time I adorned the costume of Chicken George and embodied his spirit, those voices, when I lay down at night and take off those robes, those voices, and trying to be true to those voices in our interpretation, at least my interpretation. I hope I did him justice. Do I feel that there's a need for Roots 2? Yes. Yes, there is. Why? We must continue the conversation until you get it, until we get it. Not just as an African-American people, but as we as a human race get it. Like my Jewish brothers and sisters remind us constantly about their Holocaust, we, the African-Americans, must remind the world about our Holocaust continuously until we get it. It's one thing for us to talk about it. It's another thing for us to do something about it. And I'm not talking about going in the street and breaking up our communities. It's about coming together as a people and forming a foundation economically that helps all people, that helps everybody. So yes, bravo. And you better do it good. Chicken George, if you're watching.
Daddy-O! What's up? Will, I'm glad you're here. Some business came up I gotta handle. So we're gonna have to put our trip on hold. You understand?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Just for a couple of weeks.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I think for a lot of us, African Americans, and people in general who are abandoned by their fathers and by abandonment, period, it speaks on that issue of, you know, here was a young man who had the good fortune of having a family that he could go to, and here comes a father who thinks in his mind that he can take on the burden, but his own addictions, his own fear factors takes over, and he runs from that opportunity. It was an honor to show that aspect of parenthood or lack of parenthood, to hopefully wake up the minds of those and to start the dialogue on how we can heal that, and to reach out to one another. So thank you, Will. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to portray that with you and to feel that pain. That was very painful. And matter of fact, I ran into Will at the NAACP Awards, and he said that's the most watched episode of all the shows he's ever did on Fresh Prince. So that's because of you, the public. So thank you.
How come you don't want me, man?